Welcome, bros and brosephines. My name's Albrecht von Stollen, and today I'm gonna be reviewing episode 8 of Taisho Otome Otogibanashi. Something's good's gonna happen this week. I can feel it. Before anything else, let's go! As I've finished re-uploading that monarchist video, I'm gonna be doing another project, and this is gonna be for this week. Let's just say that there's gonna be anime in it. Also, I've been busy decorating for Christmas. We return to the maiden introduction, but this time, Yuzuki kinda transforms into a celestial maiden. I don't know why, but she looks cute in this one. After the opening song, we see Tamahiko writing letters to his dad again with no reply. That dad of his is up to something. All of a sudden, a mailman shows up with the mail. While Tamahiko is disappointed that he didn't get any letters from his dad, Yuzuki does mention that there's a letter from Kobe. It is Uncle Tamasuke. This guy was first mentioned way back in episode 5. He mentions on how, since he's helping Tamako to be a doctor, that he should also help Tamahiko go back to school. Tamako asks on whether their dad will allow this. I'll get back to this later because of the manga. It even says in the letter that Tamasuke will help Tamahiko go back to school. And Tamahiko calls up his uncle in Kobe. We get a montage of Tamahiko studying to get into high school. All of a sudden, Ryo pops up and brings some food for Tamahiko. Yuzuki promptly deals with Ryo. One day, one of the village kids pops into Tamahiko's place. He says that Kotori is in Chiba for a concert. All of a sudden, Yuzuki and the other village kids are happy about it. One of them even asks Tamahiko to take them there to Chiba just to see Kotori. Honestly, this is a good opportunity for a break. They then go to Chiba Station where they finally see Kotori in person. Well, it's about time we get introduced to her, and she really is cute. Kotori sings one of her songs and it's quite soothing. While her audience is quite happy about this, who's that guy in the background? He looks quite sus. She introduces herself to the crowd when one of the village kids from earlier called out to her, and she winks at the audience, and they're all happy about it. She then sings a song in English. One of the kids asks Tamahiko on what that song means, and he says that it means, "Please trust me, I'll keep on loving you forever." I'm gonna go back to that one later. After this, we get another montage of Tamahiko studying for his high school transfer exam this time. He had passed it all the while having this song play in the background. It's now Tamahiko's first day in high school. He remembers what has happened to him. How he lost his mom along with the use of his right hand, how his dad left him for dead, and how lonely he was in school. He then remembers that he has to change for the better, and so he goes back to school. Yes, this is an all-boys school. Co-eds weren't a thing back in the 1920s after all. He goes to the staff room where one of the teachers says that he's the second transfer student, with the first being that guy in the background from Kotori's concert. The guy later introduces himself as Hakaru Shiratori, and he says that he's Kotori's twin brother, much to the class fanboying over this whole thing. After this, Tamahiko introduces himself and the class whispers to themselves about how evil the Shima family is. More foreshadowing, perhaps? Later, Hakaru is surrounded by fanboys before they all go to the gym class. As Tamahiko is effectively one-handed, he has a hard time getting the gym uniform on. During gym class, the class gets scolded by their teacher all because Tamahiko was kinda slow in running. After that, it's lunch and Hakaru gets invited by his classmates for lunch while Tamahiko eats alone. He eats what Yuzuki made him and he ends up weeping alone. Later, Yuzuki is talking to the cat, Haruchan. She wonders what has happened to Tamahiko. Meanwhile, Tamahiko and his class are in art class. Hakaru sits right next to Tamahiko and sees Tamahiko's drawing. "Tamahiko, you have a long way to go." Hakaru holds back his laughter and Tamahiko notices it. Hakaru admits that Tamahiko does indeed suck at drawing. "Not that you're one to talk, Hakaru. Yes, he also sucks at drawing. Hakaru gets dissed by Tamahiko, saying that the girl in the drawing is not Kotori. They then bicker on who has the worst drawing until the art teacher scolds them for it. After this, Tamahiko goes home with Yuzuki welcoming him home. Hakaru joins in with Tamahiko. Tamahiko tells Yuzuki that this is Hakaru Shiratori, and Yuzuki welcomes him and gets some tea. Hakaru tells Yuzuki that he and Tamahiko have an assignment. Draw each other portrait style, with Tamahiko saying that it's more of a punishment than an assignment. Hakaru and Tamahiko talk about Yuzuki while doing the assignment, all before Tamahiko blushes tsundere style and gets some tea. He then tells Yuzuki that he had a great first day while Hakaru is overhearing them. The dark aura in this scene really fits on how he's lying to her. They're done with their drawings and Hakaru likes Tamahiko's drawing. I see improvement! Hakaru then tells Tamahiko that he shouldn't lie to Yuzuki. Tamahiko tells us why he does this, to protect Yuzuki's smile. Hakaru understands and tells Tamahiko to turn those lies into truth. After this, the three of them eat dinner together and Tamahiko is shocked at how Hakaru says that they're all friends, complete with Yuzuki going all love-struck at Tamahiko blushing. The next day, Hakaru returns with Kotori and Yuzuki is surprised at the introduction. With that, the episode ends on a cliffhanger and a meme face. This episode follows chapters 25, 27, and the early part of chapter 28 from the manga, with one obvious difference. In the manga, Tamako was with Tamahiko, Yuzuki, and Ryo during chapter 25. But in this episode, she's with her uncle Tamasuke in the city of Kobe. The ordering of the manga chapters here is quite odd because episode 7 of the anime follows chapters 13 and 14 for the most part outside of Ryo's origin, which is chapter 22. Even stranger is Tamahiko returning to school this early. In the manga, the Great Kanto earthquake happened in chapter 17 with Tamaki, the eldest child of the Shima family and heir to the Shima fortune, in critical condition by chapter 22. Tamayoshi, the Shima family's patriarch, decided to use Tamahiko as his backup heir because of it in the same chapter. This was also why in chapter 25, Tamayoshi's subordinate went to Tamahiko's place and had said that Tamahiko should take a special high school entrance exam in mid-October 1923. But in this episode, we don't know what has happened with Tamaki yet, and Tamahiko had gotten to school with the help of Tamasuke instead. Something is truly strange here. Perhaps in the future episodes, this can be resolved. Next is Kotori's introduction in the series proper. For the last few episodes, we've been told about her and how popular she is. Once she does get introduced, I can see why she's popular. She's a very talented singer. Granted, the concert is not that big compared to today's standards, but this show takes place in the 1920s, where idol singers wouldn't be a thing until the 1960s in Japan. I'll be looking for that other song of hers and I'll be posting a link to that one in the future. I'm also gonna talk about Tamahiko's line from earlier. Please trust me, I'll keep on loving you forever. This is something which is kinda absent now, especially because we hear and watch nightmare after nightmare of how infidelity is a thing and being used in relationships nowadays. As such, I do think that this is quite something to think about nowadays. I made a video on this entire topic, which I'll link in the description below. The introduction of Hakaru ties in with how early Tamahiko returns to school. He's quite understanding of what Tamahiko is going through in life. Perhaps we can see more of why he thinks this? He's quite friendly and happy-go-lucky, not gonna lie. I recommend this episode especially now in these very trying times. Come join me next week as I'll review episode 9. Please like, share, and subscribe.